Hello everybody, we're here at Mill City Roasters in Northeast Minneapolis, and it's Lauren and I, and we're actually going to introduce something new for us in Mill City. It's very exciting. We've been working with Cafe Imports for quite a while, but this is something new for Cafe Imports somewhat, and something very new for us in Mill City Roasters, which is Cascara. So we've actually sourced some of the super amazing Cascara from Cafe Imports. That's actually the coffee husk, and we actually brought this in to do resale on this. Lauren and I are kind of primarily interested in this product for the education aspect of the product, as it is a part of the coffee. You know, it's a part of the coffee cherry. In the beginning, Cascara was kind of hot. It kind of got a lot of traction in the industry right away because it has unique flavors. But then they discovered that it wasn't a super safe product. There's a lot of things that go on in coffee processing that aren't really food safe. So this took a lot of time and research to actually figure out this process. So this is a process that Cafe Imports has been developing in Costa Rica. And I'm gonna read a little bit about this process so I don't say the wrong thing and I get the accuracy of the importance of this product. So basically Richard Perez, he's the owner of the farm that grows these cherries. They specifically grew these cherries, which it's Caturra, Catuai, and Villalobos varieties, not for the seed, but actually for the husk. So this is a project where they're growing coffee for Cascara. Very unique. I don't know anyone else that does that. But then on top of that, they worked with the university in Costa Rica to research the possibility of creating food-grade Cascara using modern technology, pasteurization, and specialization. So this is food-grade, safe, pasteurized Cascara. And like I said earlier, this coffee isn't grown for the seed. It is grown for the husk. So that's really interesting for us. I'm really excited about it because I used to be a chef, and from a chef's perspective, there's a lot of opportunities to take this product and utilize it in interesting things. So my brain immediately went to making soda. So this weekend I'm gonna work on making a strong extract with the Cascara, then I'm gonna make a simple syrup, and then I'm gonna find the perfect kind of sparkling water to make a triple mix of, I'm kind of thinking like a Cascara caffeinated soda. That's kind of what I'm gonna work on this weekend for this, because it's exciting and it's just getting my brain going. But then I'm also getting into like brines. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of like, what would a handful of Cascara do in like my rib brine, or my ham brine, or my turkey brine? Would it maybe make the turkey a little red? That's exciting. And then maybe caffeine? I don't know. So yeah, so that's where we're at. This is really exciting. I don't have a lot of experience with this product, and it's very new to me. So I'm gonna basically defer to Lauren, and Lauren's gonna do some brewing, some extraction, and kind of break down a little bit more of the science and some of the usability of the Cascara.
Yeah, cool, thanks Derek.
Oh yeah, well, thank you.
So Derek touched on a lot of good points. There was a period there where people were getting really excited about Cascara, bringing a lot to the States. You were seeing it pop out at retail locations and in cafes across the country. And then the U.S. government, along with the Food and Drug Administration, sort of said, whoa, we don't know anything about this product. It's being exposed to all kinds of surfaces, contact surfaces at farms. And so regulations actually sort of came down on Cascara. And there was a brief period of time, I know especially in the UK, where it was an unregulated product and you couldn't import it anymore. And so people who had had it on the retail shelves actually pulled it off the retail shelves. So this project has been a really long time in the making, I think, to sort of help kind of counteract not just the risk factor, but also the stigma too. So what we're dealing with now is a super fresh, super clean coffee cherry, and the primary way that people are going to consume it is by brewing it. I'm going to start one of our steeps here just while we're talking, and I'll talk a little bit about the parameters that I'm using. So most people in the cafe setting are going to be using this as a tea, or an herbal tea, or a tisane, and infusing it with hot water. But like Derek said, there's a lot of different ways to enjoy Cascara. I've seen people do sodas for sure, and make some simple syrup, some like flavor concentrations, to then add to other herbal teas, or lemonades, or even lattes. If you remember a couple years ago, Starbucks actually had a Cascara latte on their menu, and it was just a latte that was flavored with a Cascara simple syrup. I've seen some cafes incorporate it into trail mix and granola bars, as well as like baked chocolate, like brownies and other baked goods. So there's a lot of flexibility with it, and it is really exciting. The reason that I like it most is coming from a background of working in cafes and doing a lot of barista training. This is the best way to engage your customers and talk to them about the fact that coffee is a fruit. It is literally the fruit husk that's left over from the cherry. And we were just in here yesterday, Steve popped one of these in his mouth and he said, this tastes like a fruit roll-up or a fruit leather. Because that's exactly what it is, it's dried fruit. So this is a really fun way to introduce your customers to the idea that coffee is seasonal, it's tropical, and it has these really strong fruit flavors. And as Derek mentioned, since this is part of the plant, it also does contain caffeine. So
I'm excited about that.
as a tea or as a soda, it's really unlike a lot of other fruits that we would do infusions with. Another cool thing is you can incorporate it as the second ferment for your kombucha when you're flavoring your kombucha.
Oh, yeah. Oh gosh, I really love it.
So, I'm starting 2 brews here because the fun thing about Cascara and all herbal teas is you can brew it at different strengths and extract really different flavors. The ratio that I'm using is 1 to 25. So I had 20 grams of the Cascara in these bowls, and I'm adding 500 grams of hot water. This water is the same temperature that we use to brew coffee, so right about 200 degrees. And I'm using our French presses for it because it's a full immersion brew. When the time is up on these, I'm just gonna plunge the filters and pour it to enjoy. Usually with a lighter brew, we get sort of more mild, delicate, pretty tart flavors. And on a stronger brew, we would expect some more syrupy, sort of bold, really rich flavors. We haven't had this Cascara yet, brewed this way, so we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit, and once both of these brews are done, we'll taste them side by side. So we're back. We brewed this first one for just 4 minutes. This is going to be kind of a light extraction. This could be 3, 4, 5 minutes. And we brewed this one for 8 minutes. I've seen people go as long as 10 or 12 minutes on a brew like this. And you can also obviously mess with the ratio, do a little bit more Cascara or less. You could do a lot less if you're just brewing a single cup. And you can cold brew it. So we were just talking about, the application of having this for an iced beverage, a refresher, mixing with lemonade or sparkling water. Doing a 24-hour cold extraction would be really, really interesting. But what are your initial feelings about this fast brew?
I'm actually very shocked by the front. Like for me, almost all beverages have like 3 kind of moments in your palate. It's like the moment you put it in your mouth, the first reaction you get, or lack of reaction. Then it's like the mid, like how it kind of tastes, and you start to recognize less sensation and more flavor. And then it's the finish, like what hangs out. For me, the front of this is shocking to my palate. I can't even really describe it because it's very sweet, but yet it's super clean, and the acidity is like present. It's like this perfect balance of sweetness and acidity, and it shocks the front of my mouth. And then it just kind of washes over it. And then I get some more like savory-ish flavors that are like really complex but very subtle. Yeah.
Some of the notes we were sharing just when we first started tasting it were barley, malt, kind of brothy, and miso. Which is like sort of a really interesting fermented soybean paste. Really savory, but full of umami, that kind of savory note.
I think that's what I'm picking up. I think it's the umami in this cup. It's such a reaction. It's more of a reaction than anything.
In the finish, I definitely get a lot more of the fruit presence. The acidity kind of climbs at the end.
Yeah, it does.
But the texture is wild. It's kind of
super wild.
It's not juicy. It feels wet.
Yeah. No, you're right. It totally feels wet.
Yeah.
I almost want to say crystal, but I'm like, I don't know what that even means in my brain. But it's like there's something crystally wet.
Yeah.
Like it's structured, but it's wet.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
a really long, pleasant aftertaste, like golden raisins, like a lot of like dried apricot, dried fruit.
Yep, that's what I'm getting right now.
Really, really nice.
It's starting to cool a little bit, and it's starting to kind of get that stone fruit, like raw, kind of mild stone fruit quality. Yeah, like I'm getting the apricot a lot.
Have a little bit of this longer brew.
Oh yeah, the nose is.
All the flavors are enhanced in this one. It's a lot more berry, a lot more red cherry.
Yeah.
It's jammy. It's like preserved fruit.
Yep.
We're
getting some plum.
Yeah.
God, I'm even getting a little bit of olive, but like a nice olive, like a balanced thing, like olive quality to it. Maybe even like maybe a nice brininess. I don't know how to.
The body has changed too. There's more drying characteristics. I mean, both of these, we're using a lot of the same words that we would use to describe wines. And both of them really do drink a lot like wines.
Very much like wine.
Cooled down or served over ice. This would be a really nice beverage to pair with food. We've already been sort of talking about some foods that would go really nicely with it. I know Derek was mentioning some culinary applications, but I think food pairings would be really interesting. Another cool idea for cafe service is to do this as a flight, where you actually serve, a 2-minute, a 6-minute, and a 10-minute, and maybe just like little 2-ounce pours. And really like let people experience the way that we're tasting it here. Some beautiful glass bowls.
Definitely.
I think that would be really cool.
Even in a fine dining restaurant, as an after dinner, what I mean, instead of like a coffee or an espresso or a dessert, having a flight of these to just experience after a really rich, heavy meal, or even with the dessert, that would be really neat, dude.
So for big takeaways, Cascara is something that people in the coffee industry have been talking about for several years. It really sort of gained in popularity just a few years ago, and then I feel like everyone had to step away from it. What we're seeing now with the help of Cafe Imports sourcing and with the micromill in Costa Rica doing all this extra work, they're bringing us a product that is way more refined, way more sort of specialty grade, and it's really unlike anything that I've ever had before in that Cascara sort of realm. But this is a really exciting thing. If you're a coffee roaster or coffee hobbyist or a coffee enthusiast, this is something that you absolutely have to try because it's a byproduct of the coffee production process, and it has incredibly unique origin flavor, and I feel like it just kind of gives us a much more like wide scale picture of the flavors of coffee.
That's kind of what I want to say. That's it. I think it gives us a kind of like top down look on all of the things that can be available. And it's also, like you said, it's really neat that traditionally a lot of times this will go back into the earth. This is something that gets composted or something like that. Very interesting. So look for it on our website. We're going to sell it in a couple different sizes. I think 4 ounce and 1 pound. So 4 ounce for you to drink, for you to share with friends. 1 pound if you want to be repackaging it and selling it for your own retail customers to show them kind of a new product, something that they may have not had before. Cool.